Welcome to the Whole Birth Wellness Podcast. I'm Victoria, and I'm so glad you're here. This is your space for pregnancy, birth, and postpartum support for the whole you. Each episode blends with evidence-informed education with holistic motherhood, offering simple tools and expert voices to support you in motherhood. Today, we have Karly on the Whole Birth Wellness Podcast. Karly helps women lose weight naturally without dieting through a faith-based, science-backed approach meant to bring freedom, joy, and simplicity into weight loss for women. So if you're tired of feeling stuck in the diet culture and you're craving a more sustainable way to lose weight, you are in the right place. I'm so excited for this conversation.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This is going to be fun.
Thanks for being here. So before we get into specifics, Karly, can you share how you approach weight loss for women, specifically like postpartum moms?
Well, postpartum, as many of us know, it's just such a vulnerable and incredible place to be if anyone's ever been there. I personally didn't realize just the amount of life and energy that it takes to sustain not just my own health, but also the life of my baby. The way that I really like to look at weight loss in postpartum is that we're not necessarily supposed to chase a weight loss goal, but rather focus on nourishment and what our body needs, because pregnancy and childbirth and postpartum, we're literally creating a life inside of us, which is just so miraculous. And so it's taking so many of our nutrient reserves. It's using so many of our vitamins and minerals, our energy, even our mental space and our emotional space is being given to our baby. And so the way I like to approach it is focusing on nourishment and replenishing, our energy reserves, replenishing our vitamins and nutrients that are flowing through our breast milk, whether we're breastfeeding or not. Like, we're still giving so much life to our baby. Where, yes, we can lose weight in postpartum in a healthy way, but definitely not through calorie restriction. That is not the goal, because we're already giving so many calories out, but focusing on, again, how to replenish our nutrient reserves and use foods that are full of vitamins and nutrients and minerals that are going to help us, because we're in such an interesting hormonal state as well, where our hormones are completely different than if we weren't postpartum and if we didn't just experience pregnancy. So there's also some hormonal balancing we can do through nutrition as well.
I love that you don't focus on dieting. You focus more on nutrition, and it just will
Yes.
naturally happen.
Yes.
I was never a fan of calorie restriction back in the day. It was like just,
Yeah.
salads and that's all you'd eat, or smoothies.
Yeah, there's a place for them, but I mean, diets in general, which we'll probably go into this a little bit, but diets in general just normally aren't super sustainable. And when I'm talking about diets, I'm talking about cutting out whole food groups for a sustained period of time, as well as being under, like 1,300 calories a day. Most women, we need at least 1,700 calories a day. And most of us thrive off of even more than that. So diets just aren't really healthy sometimes or sustainable.
We will definitely dive deeper into diets and how that might not work well for women compared to men.
hmm
I wanted to ask, what do you wish every postpartum mom understood about nutrition and weight loss? Like, if it's just like a foundation thing that you would love to share with moms.
I think being postpartum, and a lot of the information we receive postpartum is just eat whatever you can, whenever you can. And there is truth to that. A lot of times we're super tired. The baby isn't sleeping well. We just experience this huge hormonal shift, and anxiety and mental health can also be kind of on this weird balance. When it comes to postpartum and nutrition and weight loss, I always try to focus on protein and the amino acids in protein are going to be so beneficial to our mental health as well as our emotions, and help stabilize blood sugar levels. So A lot of times when our blood sugar is imbalanced, it can actually induce feelings of anxiety, and therefore our mental health can suffer. And so, with our hormones postpartum, protein can be really, really beneficial, even for helping stabilize our mood. And so I recommend basically for even if you're not postpartum, but especially if you are building your meals off of protein. So that being, healthy meats and legumes, nuts and seeds, and then adding in your fruits and veggies and fats as well. So I think just giving moms the goal of just try to get your protein in and then build your meals off of that is feels more sustainable than saying, "Okay, you need
Sure.
to get X amount of calories in a day, you need to eat
Mhm.
this many meals." So I try to start off of there and build off of protein intake.
That's so good. And what would be, like, kind of the range of protein that you would recommend for postpartum moms?
I definitely recommend at least 20 grams of protein per meal, but I really try to weigh more into like 25 to 30.
Mhm. Yeah.
When it comes to increasing protein, everyone kind of has different experience with that. So a lot of moms were just not used to focusing on protein. And so I try to always start, if we're not used to that, then starting with 20 and then building up over a couple weeks. And it's actually really easy to get in 30 grams of protein. It sounds like it's a lot and kind of
Right.
daunting, but it's actually really easy. So I recommend easy snacks on hand, like beef sticks. I always keep those in the diaper bag with me
So
when I'm
good.
going
Love that.
places. You always need those
Yeah.
snacks on hand. And so, yeah, recommend those. I recommend even like cooking a whole chicken in the
Mhm. Oh, yes.
oven, roasting that and just shredding it and having that in
Mhm.
your fridge all week
It's
long.
great. Yeah.
Even cooking some ground beef and having that in the fridge, and you can add it like to salads or make tacos or something like that. So easy meal prep is great. It doesn't have to be super overwhelming.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, for my, twin pregnancy, I think it's a bit extreme, but I aimed for about 120 to 150 grams of protein just because of, having twins. You have, like, 2 lunches, which is a bit extreme, but it really helped me be more stable. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I like that you brought up pregnancy too, because weight loss should never be a goal in pregnancy, but nutrition's a goal.
What are your thoughts on, like, nutrition and pregnancy? How are those connected?
Yes, this is such a great topic because I think there's so much information out there that's actually not all of it is not beneficial, but some of it really isn't beneficial. And a lot of us who for our first doctor's visit, we're kind of told just eat whatever you want, whenever you want. It's okay to
Just
eat.
eat, just
Yes,
survive.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly, and I see the thought behind that and the validity in some way behind that, but what we eat does impact the health of our pregnancy, how we're gonna feel in our bodies, just like how we eat in any other stage of life. Most of the time when we go to the doctor or we hear, "Oh, we should eat healthy and this is what it looks like," that's a valid information, but then for some reason in pregnancy, we're told, "Just eat whatever you want, and you're going to feel and be totally fine." That just doesn't make sense to me because we're literally growing a life inside of us, not to bring guilt or any shame, but just education in this because what I eat is going to impact the health of my baby. Because my baby, when I was pregnant, he was all of the things he was getting was from my diet and how I was eating. So I'm providing for this new life right now. And that's a responsibility that we have that we shouldn't take lightly. But then we shouldn't be afraid to have some ice cream if we want to or have some cake. So, all that to say, I try to focus on when it comes to nutrition and pregnancy. My belief is that we can eat foods that are really going to help us and also limit or eliminate a lot of the pregnancy symptoms that we hear are common.
Like nausea.
Ye-
Okay.
Yes, nausea, a lot of the inflammation or swelling. Some of this is
Yeah,
we can't avoid it all, but a
for sure.
lot of it, I believe, is related and linked to how we're eating and treating our bodies because there are foods we can eat that will cause inflammation, and that's going to show up in different ways in pregnancy than it would maybe any other time in life because our hormones are so different and they're doing so many things and our bodies are working extra hard.
That's such a good point. I noticed a big night and day difference from my singleton pregnancy and my twin pregnancy, where I was pretty inflamed. My first pregnancy, I was having those cravings, like sandwiches at Jersey Mike's. But then my twin pregnancy, I really tried to avoid those things and was really mindful about the protein intake and movement and nutrition as well. Very nutrient dense foods, as you said. And even noticed postpartum, my first pregnancy, I held on to a lot of weight and I was inflamed, couldn't lose it. And then after my twin pregnancy, just melted off of me because of really focus on that nutritional piece. I love that you brought up that point, how what we eat affects, our babies and then how we are feeling postpartum as well.
That's so good. That's amazing
Yeah.
that you're able to see that difference too, because God created food to be healing for us. When I'm talking about nutrient dense foods too, I mean foods in their original form as He created them to be. Those are going to be nutrient dense versus highly processed foods. And again, it's not like we can't ever eat processed foods, but the focus, the lifestyle should be around those whole foods that have a lot of nutrition that our body can break down and pull from and be able to get what they need.
As a breastfeeding mom, what are you doing to, support your body and just let your body do its thing without even really putting a ton of effort into the weight loss?
In postpartum, weight loss should be a secondary thing that just ends up happening as a byproduct of being healthy and proper nutrition. So, what I try to focus on is and I'm still improving on, is that protein piece. I see a difference in my energy when I'm eating more protein. When I get up in the morning, I try to eat within an hour of waking because even if you're not postpartum, that helps set your metabolism for the rest of the day. So that's just a healthy practice to have, even if it's something small. And so I try to build, again, all my plates off of protein and getting it at least 30 grams per meal. I'm trying to increase that now. And sometimes I get 45 or 50 easily, depending on what I'm eating. I try to focus on really healthy fats. So my husband and I love eating salmon and fish. We love salmon and fish, but then healthy nut butters and seeds. Pumpkin seeds actually have a lot of protein in them, which is great. So sometimes I'll just have those on hand to fill my protein needs or to fill my plate. Also doing, a lot of healthy carbs. When it comes to carbs, it's a lot better to get those whole food carbs, right? So things from like fruits and vegetables, sweet potatoes, quinoa, rice, rather than keeping a lot of snacks in the pantry. I try to just grocery shop for the things that are gonna be really beneficial and helpful. We'll get snacks and things, but those are more for fun.
Yeah, it's so hard when you buy like whole food items and it's like, oh, all I have is chocolate chips or, like a fruit. I don't have these like all these extra snacks or processed foods.
Buying really healthy food, it's obviously a lot easier to eat really healthy food. And something else I do that's been really, really beneficial postpartum is having a meal plan. So then opening up the fridge or going in the pantry and thinking, okay, what am I gonna eat today? I have like 3 breakfasts I rotate through, and I don't mind doing that. I actually like the simplicity, and that just goes for have like a good standard for weight loss is making it simple, at least at first. and rotating through maybe 5 different meals for dinner, lunch, and breakfast, and just being able to pull from, okay, I know that this is helping me fill my protein needs. I know that this is really healthy and I'm going to feel full and satisfied after this rather than, not knowing what to eat. So just ordering takeout every night. That's a little extreme, but takeout is bad. It's just, I like knowing what I'm putting in my body and knowing that it's going to be really good and it's going to help me and support me in this season.
So helpful of just like kind of writing down a few things that you want to eat throughout the week and just rotating. That just takes a lot of pressure off.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's also good for grocery budget too.
Yeah, for sure. I do like online groceries most of the time, so it helps me see, okay, what's the numbers here? Also, I just don't always have the time to take 3 children out with me. Yeah.
We did
Yeah.
a lot of that the first 2 months I was
Yeah.
postpartum. I just thought, "You know what?
So
I
needed.
don't wanna go out. I'm just gonna have it dropped on my doorstep," and it kinda feels like Christmas. It's
It
really
really
nice.
does. It's such a treat. Can you explain why restrictive diets don't often work for women? Maybe the husband is doing the exact same diet and having the same workout plan. Why is it that it doesn't always work for women?
I love this topic because it goes down to kind of what we've been taught as women through the last really 30 or 40 years and diet culture and thinking, fat is bad. Even if we work out and we do some strength training, we're going to end up looking like a man, which is not true. All I'm saying is our hormones are completely different than a man's. And so if we know, okay, my hormones are different, my body, my metabolism is completely different than a man's body metabolism, then there's a different way for me. I can't put my body and fit it into this box. And I think that that's where a lot of body shame comes from. So, this is a great topic. I think as women, we can carry a lot of body shame when it comes to our bodies and our weight. And if you think about it, our hormones and our metabolism, and even how God has created us as women to create life, is such a miraculous stewardship that we have. Our hormones, our metabolism, the way we're wired is to protect that and it's to help us accomplish that. Even if a woman doesn't have children in life, our bodies are still regenerating every month. We're still detoxing every month and regenerating new tissue through our menstrual cycle. Our bodies follow that plan that God's given us as women and our hormones follow that. And so that's very different than a man's body and what a man's body does every month, what it doesn't do every month compared to ours, and just how men are wired. And how they're biologically wired. We will not get the same results as a man when it comes to, restrictive dieting or when it comes to working out super hard all the time. A man can basically eat the same exact meal or do the same exact workout every day for years and just lose weight really fast. But as women, we have this hormonal cycle every single month and we have high energy days and we have low energy days. Our metabolism is changing literally from one day to the next. We might feel completely different. I don't want to say dieting, but healthy diet and healthy exercise for us. We have to support our metabolism rather than work against it. And what I see a lot with women is a lot of the science in exercise and in nutrition or dieting is for men and it's been done on men and it hasn't been done on women. And so we're following this model that's not even going to set us up for success. And so when we do restrictive diets or when we do HIIT workouts every single day, and we're bloated and we feel like we're not losing weight and we feel stiff and sore and we're stressed out and then we just get frustrated and we think something's wrong with our bodies, but it's because we're following a model that isn't actually supportive of our physiology. So I'm really passionate about that because so many women are so discouraged thinking that their metabolism's broken where that's not actually the case. We just need to understand how our hormones work and what they actually need.
Oh, yeah. It's so interesting that a lot of the studies of fasting is only done on men. We're just not wired for that. I just love that you pointed that out, that we should not look to that. Working out the same way as as your husband and not seeing results, that's pretty frustrating. And so this is really actually encouraging to hear that there's another way.
There is for sure. And a lot of it is, like you said, being encouraging of the natural process of our cycle. And so fasting is a really interesting and kind of hot topic because we can use and utilize fasting in a way as women, but it's not going to look like the way a man fasts. And it
Right.
has to be, it's really only beneficial when it's done during a specific phase of your cycle and not the whole month during the higher energy days when you're not bleeding. Or not for a really long amount of
Yeah.
time either, you
Right.
know? So
Mhm. Fasting during your period, I think I would pass out. Yeah, I definitely need that steak.
it's really good.
Carly, tell us how our hormones are connected to weight loss.
As women, we don't really have a great understanding of our hormones or what's actually happening in our bodies because it feels so complex that it can almost be confusing. And there's just some misinformation about there too. So, when it comes to hormones with weight loss for women, we have estrogen, we have progesterone, we have cortisol, and other hormones happening where they're all in this balance throughout the month and they rise and fall together. And the main things I have found that really helps women with weight loss is understanding the relationship between our hormones and insulin. 'Cause insulin is also a hormone. And when we're talking about balancing hormones, that is an important step in natural weight loss for women. So, when we're talking about balancing hormones, they are so intricately interwoven with insulin. So, if when our insulin is stable, when our blood sugar levels are stable, that's naturally going to help our hormones be balanced and be stable as well. So, I just really like to talk about blood sugar and keeping blood sugar levels stable. And that's why talking about protein has been such a huge topic in the weight loss field and fitness field.
What would you say to moms who really want to have a healthy pregnancy and balancing their blood sugar?
What we see a lot in pregnancy is fatigue. We see a lack of energy, poor sleep. And so balancing our blood sugar is really going to help with that. And again, going back to eating enough protein and also eating balanced meals and enough food throughout the day. Because in pregnancy, we're not necessarily trying to eat for two. We're just trying to support our body and the ability to grow a new life. Definitely getting in that protein, eating first thing in the morning is going to be really beneficial to pregnancy, as well as not filling in gaps in nutrition, let's say cravings or if we're super hungry with sugar or with a lot of processed carbs, because that's going to cause our blood sugar to dip and go up really high, and that's not what we want. So, focusing again on those whole foods, on that protein. I also recommend when it comes to snacking, having protein forward snacks.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like if you're going to have some sort of sugar, do you pair protein with it to balance it out so you don't have as bad of, as a crash later?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
yeah, that's a really good point. If someone does wanna have, a sugary drink, then having protein first or eating protein with it is going to help stabilize your blood sugar because what happens is when we eat is protein slows down our digestive system in a good way. It takes longer for our digestion to break down protein. The protein products entering our system after it's broken down, it's going to be a slow increase in blood sugar, and we're not going to get that huge spike. And
Right.
that's what we want. And it's really fascinating because some of my clients who have come to me, if they're experiencing a lot of anxiety or mental health issues, I always look at their protein intake and if they're eating enough protein because
Yes,
a lot of times blood sugar imbalances actually induce symptoms of anxiety.
for sure. I notice that just postpartum, if I'm not eating enough, like, oh, I'm not doing well. And so I really have to be mindful of that. So that's really good that you point that out as well. Speaking of mental health and weight loss, what are some other symptoms? You said anxiety. When you're not getting enough protein, whether you're postpartum or pregnancy, what else shows up? How it might affect your hormones?
A lot of times when we're not getting in enough protein, we're also not getting in enough iron
Okay.
or
Yeah.
B vitamins as well. Those nutrients are really crucial to our nervous system. When we're stressed, our body burns through B vitamins because we use those for energy. And when we're stressed, we're in this like hyperactive state. A lot of times postpartum, we just experience more stress. We're going through something that we've never been through before. We're experiencing those hormonal shifts, so cortisol can naturally just be higher. So that's another reason why supporting our bodies with protein is really crucial. But I do see iron deficiency a lot in postpartum because we're giving, I just like to frame it this way. Our body's mission is to give our baby all of the nutrients first. And then we kinda get, I don't wanna say the leftovers, but we do, so to say, and that's
True.
beautiful
Yeah.
because we're trying to protect our baby. So, we are naturally just more depleted. So, with iron deficiency, I see a lot of fatigue. I also see more anxiety and stress too with iron deficiency. So, getting in protein, especially with animal-based sources, is going to help fill those nutrient gaps.
I've heard that sometimes if moms have a baby too close together, it could really pull those minerals out. And if you keep doing that without replenishing it, you can lose a tooth, where it pulls out of your bones. Yeah. So that's just something I've been like, oh, I got to make sure I get my minerals in.
I remember learning about that being pregnant a bit. I didn't look a lot into it, but it's true because your baby, they're growing bones and they're fusing bones. And so
Right.
I recommend collagen as well.
Collagen. Ooh, okay.
That's
Yeah.
gonna really help you rebuild, your own body. Collagen's used for so many different things.
So good. What other supplements would you recommend postpartum moms?
Yes. So continuing to take a prenatal is always a great idea. I try to go for whole food sources because our body knows how to use those better than synthetic vitamins. I kinda went on this journey of looking into how synthetic vitamins are created, and it's just not great and not really things we wanna put in our body unless you have a massive deficiency and you
Sure.
need to get those vitamins in really fast. That's a little bit different, but I always opt for whole foods, vitamins. I recommend Shilajit.
Ooh, I
I
love Shilajit.
You
Ugh,
know, it's
it's the
so good.
best
That
mineral.
is totally natural and, it's a whole food supplement. So it's full of, I think, 72 of the essential minerals that we need in
Yeah,
our bodies.
wild.
And so it helps with healthy detox too.
Yes, like a light binder, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's going to help you just do some light detoxing. Even during breastfeeding, it's still safe because it's not causing a heavy detox of your body, but that's going to help you detox any things you might need to continue detox after pregnancy if there is any inflammation. So
So
that's a
good.
great thing. I recommend fish oil as well. Good, healthy fish oil that's been tested for heavy metals because we don't want any
Wild
part
caught.
of. Yes.
Yep.
Wild caught's really good. B vitamins as well, even though a lot of prenatals already have those in there, taking an extra might be helpful too if you find that your energy is low.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, that's really
Sure.
helpful. Wanted to ask about your background in nutrition. What's the story behind you focusing your work on moms and weight loss and nutrition?
I always wanted to work with women. I've been working with women specifically for several years after I got my master's in nutrition. It wasn't until I started thinking about becoming a mom more and I walked through my pregnancy and I've been walking through my postpartum journey. I'm now 7.5, almost 8 months postpartum. I just grew a heart for moms because I started to understand. I know moms are superheroes, you
They
know?
are. Yeah.
Really, it's just a lot of times we talk about pregnancy, but postpartum can be missed. I just grew a heart for specifically like postpartum moms because we can feel unseen in a lot of different ways. It's a part of even scientific literature. There's not a lot of studies done on postpartum moms because it's such a fragile, beautiful state to be in. And so I grew a heart to support moms in pregnancy too, because it's just such a crucial, beautiful time in our lives where we don't need to just be supported through nutrition, but also emotionally, mentally, and spiritually too. And we can use food. It's just incredible how God created food to fill us up emotionally and mentally as well. Because if we're supported physically, then it's gonna be easy to feel supported emotionally and mentally as well.
Thanks for sharing. I love how, like, you went through the journey. Like, moms really need help.
Figuring out it can feel insignificant, but we're doing such a beautiful, holy work. If anyone needs support, it's moms. You know, we
Yeah.
when it
We're
comes
holding
to
the fort down.
yes, yeah, and I don't mean that in a bad way. The Lord wants us to feel strong. He wants us to feel energized. When I feel strong, when I feel energized and nourished, I'm able to take care of my son
Yes.
fully. So there's a ripple effect that happens throughout the whole family when the
Yeah.
mom is doing well.
And when she's not doing well too, it does really affect the family. And I've
Yes.
been there of like, oh, I didn't eat enough today. I'm a little cranky. How do you guide moms in bringing their faith alongside their health? I think that's a really important one, bringing that spiritual piece in.
I think a big part of that is again, not just addressing like our physical health, but how our heart is doing, how we're doing mentally, and inviting the Lord into that space. So, when it comes to working with my clients and in my program, I start off talking about how is your mindset? What are your beliefs when it comes to your body? What are your beliefs when it comes to body shame? A lot of us carry a lot of shame around our body image and we might not even realize it and it's built up over time and that increases our cortisol, it increases our stress. It's just not healthy for us overall. So inviting God into the narrative because our bodies belong to him anyways and he knows what's best for us. He knows how we need to be fed nutritionally and inviting him in to heal our narrative and help us rewrite our narrative when it comes to how we think about ourselves. If we have some fear, if we're living out of fear, then when we try to step into healthy weight loss, it's not going to be a healthy journey. It's not going to feel life giving.
Yeah.
And so having God come in and direct that for us by healing us from body shame, by healing us from trauma or pain, that's going to help set us up for success in our bodies too. Our body feels all of that. It hears and knows our mind and emotions in our body, they're all connected.
What we think or what we say out loud about ourselves. Like you said, our body listens and agrees with that. So that's really important. And another thing that came to my mind is, when the mom loses weight, but then they're emotionally unchanged, what then? So it's like, is the weight loss really the goal that we're going for? Or is it mental change that we're going for?
That is such a great point, and that sums up how we first need to pursue God and pursue health
Yeah.
as a whole, and weight loss is a byproduct. Because just like you
Yeah. I
said,
love that.
yeah, women lose weight and then they still feel insecure and they
Right.
still
Right.
are struggling with body shame. And the root hasn't been healed. On the outside, you might look different, But really, whole health, it's about mind, it's about our emotions, it's about our body. And so pursuing God first and his design for us as women, understanding our hormones, understanding how to eat for energy, understanding, how my mental and emotional health impact how I see nutrition in my body. Those are all really, really great keys to weight loss feeling sustainable and life-giving rather than it coming from this place of, okay, well, I want to look a certain way, and so here's all the weight I want to lose. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just the place it's coming from.
For sure. It's about like the heart. I really like how you focus that weight loss is a byproduct. When you're doing well, when you're eating enough protein, it'll just naturally happen when you're not inflamed. Inflammation does keep us stuck sometimes and keeps us from losing that weight. I know you talk about that a lot. Is there anything else you wanted to add about things that would keep us stuck from losing weight?
Even just looking at lifestyle. So, especially when it comes to working with moms, I really like to approach it from the sense of instead of adding in more things to your to do list to try to lose weight, it's not about that. It's about looking at our lives and looking how we already live and just tweaking and changing things. I talk about nutrition, I talk about diet, but I also talk about lifestyle because even things like going out in the morning and getting some morning light,
Yes, good one.
even for just 5 minutes, is going to help set your metabolism, your circadian rhythm. You're going to feel happier because it helps release serotonin in your body and dopamine. Even things like screen time, like what does scrolling on your phone, how much are you doing that in a day? That impacts your hormones. It impacts your cortisol. Healthy, sustainable weight loss isn't just about a number on a scale. It's about what does your life look like? And do you feel like you are tuning into what your body needs, what your soul needs? We can't always control how much sleep we get, but we can control what we do with our time.
Yeah,
And so I encourage moms to just look at the time that you have and how are we spending that time? And it not being a shameful thing, but it bringing awareness. It can be as simple as go outside for 5 minutes in the morning
makes a
and
big difference.
just take a deep breath. Yeah.
You can do all the things like biohacking, but if you wake up in the morning and you're just scrolling on your phone before you do anything else, I'm sure that could spike your cortisol. So it's so interesting. It's like, yeah, you can do all the right things, but eating healthy, but the lifestyle is a really, really important part too.
Yes,
I
that's
love that you
so
brought that up.
good.
I wanted to ask you one last question before wrapping up. Tell us about the Freedom Method and how you are helping moms.
I created the Freedom Method after years of working with women. I found that a lot of women want to work for weight loss or they want to move towards weight loss. Having my faith and knowing the Lord, I wanted to help rewrite that narrative for women where it can actually be a joyful process. It can be a healthy process, not just in our body, but in our minds and emotions. And so, what does that look like? I love working with women in any stage of life, including pregnancy and postpartum as well. I educate women when it comes to where their hormones are at, depending on what stage they are in, and how to incorporate weight loss in a healthy way. Doing this through nutrition as well as different mindset hacks that we can have, releasing body shame, releasing trauma and pain as well, because our body can also hold on to those things. I do this in, I say, a healthy and sustainable way because it's not through dieting, it's through simply understanding how your hormones were set up to help you lose weight naturally through, nutrition, through exercise and lifestyle.
That is so important because I feel like a lot of us in this generation are like recovering from that restrictive diet culture. And I just believe that this will bring a lot of freedom in mom's life and just confident in their health and weight loss journey.
Yeah, thank you. It's been amazing so far. It's a lot of fun. I love it.
Yeah, I know it will help moms. I really appreciate you just sharing your heart. And yeah, thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you for having me.